Once again on this night, بإذن تعالى, being the ثلاثاء, يوم الثلاثاء ويوم الأربعاء, يوم الأربعاء, ليلة الخميس, Wednesday, the 24th of December 2003, either the 30th of Shawwal. MashaAllah. How was China? Ahlan wa sahlan, good to see you again. The 30th of Shawwal or the 1st of Dhul. What? لا لا هجة. قعدة. One of them, you know it was one of them. Allahu Akbar. We study Monument to Work, 1424 Hijri, of course. We study Monument to Work of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, which is entitled Aqidah Wasittiyah. This explanation by Abu Abdullah Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymin rahimahullah. Lastly, where we left off was under وَبِمَا وَصَفَهُ بِهِ رَسُولُهُ. We believe in Allah Ta'ala as He has described Himself in His book, and as the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has described Allah Ta'ala in the Sunnah. Now under this particular wording we took, how does the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam describe Allah? In a sense of what spectrum, how many branches does that fall into? That's what it means. We took this. Statement, action, and agreement. So we want examples, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Is he looking at him saying he's reading? Okay, well, I mean, you're reading, you tell me. Okay, let's leave it at that regarding the saying and action. Starting with the statement, the Prophet ﷺ would tell us something that about Allah Ta'ala. Anything that he would say out of his mouth regarding Allah Ta'ala, right, would be what? A statement. And regarding his fi'l, his action would be as he said, when he pointed to the heavens on Hajjatul Wada'. Pointed to the heavens and then pointed to the people. Hal balaqtu, have I delivered the message? They say yes. Allahumma fashhad. Oh Allah, you be a witness. Pointed to the heavens and he pointed to the people. We then took a authentic hadith from Abu Dawood. It was declared Sahih by Shaykh Nasir in his Sahih Abu Dawood, which, you ready? Huh? No, that's iqrar. And it's agreement. We're talking about action now. We took something real clear regarding action. It's something that our brothers normally would have, go ahead and make a test in masjid. You're standing and everything else, man. And why don't you just wait till you get inside the circle, bi'idhnillah. Allah barak fikum. And it's something that we took that some of our brothers have a fear to do sometimes when they speak about Allah Ta'ala. No. La. No. You got it? La. You don't have it either. Huh? He said, Sami'un Basirun. And the Prophet put his right finger on his eye and he put his thumb on his ear to show actuality that Allah Ta'ala hears and sees. And to show the actuality that Allah Ta'ala hears and sees. Showing us that it's a real seeing, a real hearing. When we know full well that he means is a hearing and a seeing, that it's not like the hearing and seeing of the creatures. And we have to say this again and again because we always have people who come, new faces, who have not attended the untold amount of lectures on this subject before, and we have to go over it regarding this issue of Asma wa Sifat. Khair, Jayyid, al-Iqrar, where the Prophet ﷺ agreed or approved, the hadith of the Jariyah, slave girl. What did he ask her? She pointed to the heavens. And he said, who am I? She said, you're the messenger of Allah. He said, for release her, she's a believer. Another example was the Yahudi, the Jew who came to him and said that Allah Ta'ala what? Gather the earth on one finger, the heavens on one finger, and so on and so forth. And then the Prophet said, subhanallah, astaghfirullah, how you going to say this? Or what did he do? Dhahaka. Prophet laughed in agreement. Laughed in agreement that this is something that Allah Ta'ala will do. And we said that this is the somewhat the level that we have to get at. Where when we hear these names and qualities, nothing comes to our minds of the issues of the creatures, but rather we know that it is something specific to Allah Ta'ala, and nothing of making similarity between Allah and His creatures, thinking that Allah Ta'ala is like His creatures, or His creatures is like Allah, comes in our minds whatsoever, and therefore we will be able to laugh bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, affirming that this is the reality or the truth about Allah Ta'ala. Naam, al-qawl wa fi'l wa iqrar. Now, why is it obligatory to believe in what the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has described, how he has described Allah? Why is it obligatory? We took a reason. بِدَلِيلِهِ, if you remember. With his evidence, if you can recall. Either one of you. أنت ثم هو. I'm letting you guys look at your notes. I don't know why, but go ahead. You remember the ayah? Even if you have to look at your notes, go ahead. Allah barak fikum. Huh? Yeah. Right. What is it?
Obey Allah and believe His messenger.
No, you're right. Believe.
Believe in Allah and believe in His messenger.
You're right, but I don't know. Do you have it written with you? If you have it written, read from what you have written. Anybody has it written? The ayah. You don't have your notes. Anybody? The ayah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu billahi wa rasulih. Oh, you believe in Allah and the Messenger. Wa kitab alladhi nazzala ala rasulih. And the book has been revealed to the Messenger. Wa kitab alladhi anzala min qabl. So every ayah that the Prophet mentions, he's muballigh. He's what? Propagating from Allah Ta'ala. So we must accept, it's obligatory, since he's bringing it from Allah Ta'ala, we must totally accept what he says regarding Allah Ta'ala. This makes sense. Along with what the brother was about to say about the qualities that we said will help you in every area of the deen, if you understand that the Prophet ﷺ is what? A'lam, most knowledgeable regarding Allah Ta'ala in the issue. Ansah, most sincere. Afsah, most eloquent in his speech, or clear in his speech. Asdaq, most truthful. Right? So with these four things in mind, then whatever he would tell us would be what? Correct, and would be obligatory for us to accept. This will help you in every area of the areas of the deen of Allah Ta'ala. Once that's realized. Because whoever else is going to come to you with anything, they're not going to be a'lam, the most knowledgeable. No one's more knowledgeable amongst the creatures than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's because he's receiving revelation from Allah Ta'ala. And no one's more sincere. In other words, they come to you and say, I'm a sincere advisor to you. Brother, I'm looking out for you. Right? No one will be more sincere than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he was about to kill himself from grief that the guidance would not be what? Accepted. So no one's more sincere to him. And he's ra'uf and rahim, merciful and gentle, and having great pity for the believers. As he described himself sallallahu alayhi wasallam in relationship to the ummah, as a man sitting in front of a fire, and the moths and the bugs and insects come and they're trying to run into the fire. And this man does everything to the degree of exhausting himself from pushing them away, but they refuse except to jump into the fire. This is talking about the disposition of the Prophet ﷺ regarding this ummah. How he's swinging away, trying everything he can do to remove individuals away from falling into fire, yet these individuals are somehow intoxicated by the fire and focused upon the fire, wanting nothing to do but to fall into the fire, of course, until they actually reach the fire. So this is something that we should understand, that huwa ansah wa a'lam, most knowledgeable, wa asdaq, most truthful. No one will come to you more truthful than the Prophet ﷺ. Ma yantiqu an hawa. He does not speak of his desires. In huwa illa wahyun yuha. Nothing but revelation, whatever comes out of his mouth. And in this regard, so we must understand that these four matters, al-ilm wal-nus wal-sidq wal-bayan, don't gather in anyone like they gather in the Prophet ﷺ. Well, maybe he didn't mean this, maybe he didn't say that. La, he meant it, because what? Huwa afsah. In other words, most able to do bayan, to clarify and bring clarification and elucidate, make clear what he means. No one's able to be more clear than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is a very serious matter. If you understand these four matters, it will help you in every area of the deen, like we said, and it will help you to refute everyone from the individuals of Ahl al-Bid'ah and others who come with their whims and their desires and their conjectures regarding Allah Ta'ala. Whoever they come with, one of those will suffice. And I say this, well, are you more knowledgeable or the Prophet ﷺ? What the Prophet ﷺ? Okay, bus. I say it would have been better to say this, well, are you more classical or clear in your speech? Or the Prophet ﷺ? The Prophet ﷺ. Okay, bus, khalas. I have a sincerity for the people. Well, is your and want to advise them, have mercy upon them. Well, your sincerity, your advising, your mercy, is it more so than the sincerity and advising and mercy of the Prophet ﷺ? No. Huwa ansah. I say this and I'm truthful. Yeah, but are you more truthful than the Prophet ﷺ? As-sadiq wal-masduq, the one who's truthful and whose truthfulness has been confirmed by the one who's in the heavens? No. So these four matters will help in every situation. Alayka salam. In every situation. Now, we come into the diseases, or the inhirafat, or the deviations, where people mess up when they come into the belief regarding the names and qualities of Allah. This is where they mess up and they deviate. And this is why this statement is here by Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. And we believe in how Allah Ta'ala has described himself, or what Allah Ta'ala has described himself in the book. And we believe in the manner in which the Prophet ﷺ has described Allah Ta'ala in the authentic Sunnah alayhi salam. Then he says what? من غير تحريف ولا تعتيل ومن غير تكييف ولا تمثيل. Four matters: tahrif, ta'til, takyif, and tamthil. Once again, we say don't run from the terminology. Don't get all up in an uproar. Don't have a cow, because now you're faced with some terminology that has to be described, or it has to be explained to you and broke down. Those who can memorize the term itself and understand its meaning, فَبِهَا وَنِعْمَةً. This is a blessing. Those who can understand the maqsood, what is intended by it, the definition, and therefore know what the definition is and avoid it, and make sure the Aqidah is sound and away from it, then this is enough. This is what we want, right? And for instance, a brother is striving to us tahrif, and he gets it mixed up with ta'til, we're not going to say, قَدْ قَامَ الدُّنْيَا, قَدْ قَامَ قِيَامَ, rather. Qiyamah is going to start, so he's created the biggest problem on earth. La. We're going to say, inshaAllah ta'ala, he work on the definitions, but the names of definitions, but understand what the matters you have to avoid regarding when you come into the issue of belief in the names and qualities of Allah. في هذه الجملة الشيخ says Ibn Taymiyyah رحمه الله في هذه الجملة, in this paragraph, this sentence, بيان صفة إيمان أهل السنة والجماعة, explanation of the belief of the people of Sunnah بصفات الله تعالى, in the qualities regarding the qualities of Allah Azza wa Jal. For the people, They believe in Allah Tabarak Ta'ala. They believe in the names and qualities of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Khaliyan, far removed, min hadhi umur al-arba, from these four matters. Other words, brothers, your belief in Allah Tabarak Ta'ala and His names and qualities will not be correct unless and until it doesn't have these four deviations. It doesn't have these four matters. If any one of these matters pollutes your Aqidah regarding the belief in the names and qualities of Allah, if any of these matters enters into your Aqidah, if you find yourself in any shape, fashion, or form upon these issues regarding the belief in Allah Ta'ala and the names and qualities, then you're not on the Aqidah of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. You're not on the Aqidah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, wa Abu Bakr Sadiq, wa Umar, wa Uthman, wa Ali. You're not on the belief of those who will be successful in the hereafter. Has to be these four matters must be avoided. They are the four deadly poisons to the Aqidah. They are fatal, terminal illnesses to the Aqidah. They will destroy the person's belief in the names and qualities of Allah Ta'ala if he has one of them in one of these aspects in his belief. The first one is at-tahrif. At-tahrif is at-taghyir, to distort or to change. To distort or to change. فَالتَّحْرِيفُ التَّغْيِيرُ. It is to distort or change. You distort something in the names and qualities of Allah Ta'ala, or you change in some shape, fashion, or form something dealing with the names and qualities of Allah Ta'ala, you have fallen into tahrif. فَالتَّحْرِيفُ التَّغْيِيرُ. So at-tahrif is changing, distorting. وهو إما لفظي وإما معنوي. You can distort or change either the actual wording regarding the name and quality of Allah or its meaning. Distortion, change comes to two issues. Either a person can distort is what? The actual wording, changing the words. And there has been those who have done that, taking the book of Allah Ta'ala, taking something that Allah Ta'ala has said and changed it and said this is from Allah. Put a lam where a noon should have been, right? Like this. Nah. Or meaning. Lafzi or ma'nawi. Lafzi or ma'nawi. To the lafz, to the actual letter, of the name and quality we're talking about, or to the what? The ma'na, the meaning. And in the majority of cases, changing of the wording or the letters of the word, la taqa. Doesn't happen usually. Doesn't happen usually. And if it happens, it usually happens from somebody who's jahil, who's ignorant. He didn't understand what he was doing. So this is why he did it. فالتحريف لفظي يعني تغيير الشكل. So therefore, changing the words means changing its form, the form of the word, changing its letters. فمثلا, فما تجد أحد يقول, you won't find someone saying, الحمد لله رب العالمين, right? بفتح الدال. You won't find people say that. إلا كان جاهلا, unless he's ignorant. هذا غالب, this is the majority of the case. But people say what? Alhamdu lillahi rabbil alameen. You see what he's saying? But normally people don't change what? The letter, right? ولكن تحريف المعنوي, distorting the meaning, هو الذي وقع فيه كثير من الناس. It is that which many individuals fell into. وأهل السنة والجماعة, the people of the Sunnah and the Jama'ah, Salafiyun, Al-Athariyun, Ahl al-Hadith, when they believe in Allah Ta'ala, the names and qualities of Allah Ta'ala, the description of Allah Ta'ala, they do so without tahrif. They do so without distorting its wording or its letters, and they do so without distorting or changing its meanings. لفظ ومعنى. وتغيير المعنى, changing its meaning. Those who do it from this ummah, from the people of bid'ah, those who change from the people of bid'ah, who change the meaning of the names and qualities of Allah, they call it what? Ta'weel. And we said they do this so that it becomes something palatable to the people. If they came to people and said that we're doing tahrif, which Imam Shanqiti and others call la'at, playing, they say we're playing with the words of Allah. Akhi, we're playing with the words of Allah. This is what in our playing, we say this about Allah. No one would what? Accept that. They say, nahnu, we're doing tahrif of the words of Allah. We're distorting the words of Allah. Right? Here's something we distorted. Here, take this. Right? No one would what? Accept it. But when they come with this term ta'weel, which the vast majority of the Muslims understand to mean the meaning of something, interpretation of something, right? Which the Salaf were giving, right? Using this term, then it gives a different understanding to the people. Right? وَيُسَمُّونَ أَنفُسَهُمْ بِأَهْلِ التَّعْوِيلِ. They say we're doing ta'weel, even though they're messing and playing around with the names and qualities of Allah Ta'ala. Even though they're messing and playing around with the names and qualities of Allah Ta'ala, they call it ta'weel, and they say we're Ahl al-Ta'weel. They don't say this is la'at, playing, or tahrif, distortion, and we're Ahl al-Tahrif, people of distortion. No, they wouldn't say that. They call themselves Ahl al-Ta'weel. So that the people, it will dye their words, or surround their words, as the Sheikh said, sibqat al-qubul. Give it a meaning of acceptance. Ahl al-Bid'ah is good at that. Changing wording so that it's more nice and acceptable to the people. They're good at that. They're technicians with that. Because the ta'weel, people don't run away from and don't hate it. But in reality, what they're calling ta'weel is tahrif, distorting and playing. Call it what they want to call it. It's distortion. And it's playing with the book of Allah Ta'ala. It's playing with the words of Allah Ta'ala. Playing with the names and qualities of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. لَيْسَ عَلَيْهِ دَلِيلٌ صَحِيحٌ. And it's called tahrif because they have no evidence for that which they have did. They have moved from one meaning and came with another meaning. Moved from one wording and came with another wording. Without any evidence from the book of Allah Ta'ala or the Sunnah of the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So therefore it's what? Tahrif. They do it bidun dalil, without any evidence. No one told them to do it. They had no authority to do it. Allah Ta'ala didn't order it. Prophet did not order it. Bidun dalil sahih, without authentic evidence. So therefore it's what? Tahrif. It is distortion. So if they had called it tahrif to begin with, the people would have rejected and said this is tahrif. وَلِهَذَا, because of this, عَبَّرَ السَّلَفِ. Salaf express. And Salaf expressions are very daqiq, very meticulous, weighed, sound. The Salaf, the expressions of the Salaf are like that. They called it tahrif. They call it what it was. Distorting, changing, and playing. This is what they called it. Doing a ta'wil. They didn't call it ta'wil. Even though you might find كثير ممن يتكلمون في هذا الباب يعبرون بنفي تأويل. They might use the statements from the Salaf and say without ta'wil. And what they mean by that is without this false ta'wil that these people are claiming. How you take somebody's terminology and use it against them, right? They want to call tahrif, ta'wil. We say, okay, if you're going to call it ta'wil, this on the South say, okay, then we believe Allah without ta'wil. And what's this tahrif you're doing? You want to call it that? We'll call it with it, but we say we believe in it when Allah without that. Alright? We're doing ta'wil. Now he's trying to explain to us, the Shaykh, that even though some of the Salaf may say that, very few of them, the correct one is those who use the term tahrif. He's going to explain to us and bring evidences from 4 angles as to why the term tahrif, distorting, is a better, and playing and changing is a better term to use when you're talking about those who change and play with the names and qualities of Allah Ta'ala. But what's the first aspect? It's the wording that Allah Ta'ala used. Tahrif. It's the word that Allah Ta'ala used. الذي جاء به القرآن. The Quran came in the Quran. فإن الله تعالى قال, for Allah the Exalted said, يحرفون. يحرفون. They distort and they change al-kalima, the word, عن مواضعه, from its place. They change the words from its place. So he used the word يحرفون, which is tahrif. والتعبير الذي عبر به القرآن أولى من غيره. And a word or expression that the Quran is going to be used, or that the Quran is used, is better than anything besides it. You agree? Tonight. And if the Quran uses a word expression, then it's better to use that expression or some other expression. Better use the expression that the Quran used. No. Yeah, the ayah you want to the place? Surah Nisa, verse 46. So what's the thani? Second aspect. It is more clearer, it is giving more clearance explanation to their circumstance. And it's closer to what is just. Because the one who changed something regarding names and qualities of Allah Ta'ala, regarding the text of Quran and Sunnah regarding names and qualities of Allah, بغير دليل, without evidence, ليس من العدل أن نسميه مؤولا. It's not just that we call him somebody who's doing ta'wil. That's unjust. بل العدل, the just, is to describe him, justice is to describe him as he deserves to be described. And that is that he's a distorter. And that he's someone who changed and played with the text regarding Allah Ta'ala's names and qualities. This is more just. It's the second aspect. It's not right to give him a nice name like, oh, he's mu'awwil, he's doing ta'wil. No, he's not doing ta'wil because he doesn't have a dalil for it. He's changing without the evidence. He's changing without any authority. So he has more right that he be described as someone who's muharraf, who's doing tahrif, muharrifan, someone who's distorting and playing with the words of Allah Ta'ala. الوجه الثالث, third aspect, and the ta'wil بغير دليل باطل. That where you do give ta'wil without evidence is false. So therefore a person should be far away from that and run away from that. And therefore, since we want the person to run away from it and not fall into it, using the term tahrif is uplove. It's more. It gives a more meaning of something that the man should run away from. Tahrif is something horrible, whereas ta'wil has a nice type of thing to it. Has a nice flavor, if you will. When you say tahrif, this is something that changed, distorted, that played with the words of Allah. This is something that makes the person not want to fall into that. A tahrif la yakmalu ahad. Distorting and playing with the book of Allah Ta'ala and the text of Quran and Sunnah regarding names and qualities of Allah Ta'ala, no one will accept it. Or like in a ta'wil has some layyin. If you use the term ta'wil, it has some ease to it. And people accept it. Not really understanding its meaning. But if we use the word tahrif, soon as we say tahrif, and they know that means distortion, that means change, that means he's played with the ayat of Allah, he's played with verses of Quran and Hadith, people immediately say, we don't want this. People don't want this. And if it's like that, he says, then using the term tahrif for those who went in opposition to the way of the Salaf is better and more right and more befitting than the term ta'wil. Lastly, fourth aspect, in the ta'wil laysa madhmuman kulluh. That if we use the term ta'wil, it's not something blameworthy totally. There's a good meaning to it and a bad meaning to it. قال النبي عليه السلام, the Prophet ﷺ, did he not say, اللهم فقهه في الدين, when he was talking about Ibn Abbas, made dua for him. Or Allah give him fiqh and deen, وعلمه التأويل, and teach him what? It's ta'wil, it's meaning. And Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Imran, verse 7, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلُهُ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, and no one knows its ta'wil, its true meaning, except Allah. وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ, and those well grounded in knowledge. So he praised them based on the fact that they know the ta'wil. He said Allah and those who, you can do the waqf from either position. Allah and those who well grounded in knowledge know the what? The ta'wil. So he praising them. The Prophet is making dua for Ibn Abbas. So what he's trying to say, this term ta'wil is not madmoom, it's not blameworthy from every aspect, what tahrif is. What ta'wil laysa kullu madmooman. And ta'wil lahu ma'ani muta'addida. Ta'wil has many meanings. It comes with the meaning of tafsir. You hear the word ta'wil, you understand tafsir, and that's why some of the Salaf named their books like that. Ta'wil, ta'wil ayat, ta'wil of the verses of the Quran. They mean what? Tafsir of the verses of the Quran. And it also comes with a meaning with that which is the end result of what will happen. And ima'al. And also come with the meaning which is taking it away from, taking something away from its clear-cut meaning and saying that something else is referred by it. Right? Taking away from its clear-cut meaning and saying something else is referred by it. Now, the Shaykh, Hafidhahullah, wants to give us examples of the various meanings of ta'wil. But I don't want to be heavy on you. I don't want to be heavy. We've already been accused of being heavy. I don't want to be heavy. It's really light knowledge. It's not heavy. It's light. But I mean, considering what we have taken, maybe it's just let that digest with you a little bit regarding the manner of a tahrif. So what you understand so far, Akhi, from tahrif? What does it mean? Tahrif. Yeah, I was talking to you. Yeah. But I mean, since you wasn't answering, Akhi, this brother's the first time I ever seen him in his jalsa. Jazakallah khair. Huh? Word? And what's the, I mean, and if you get down to the, real brass tacks of it, what is it? What is it? It's lab. It's plain. Like Imam Shanqiti called it. It's plain. Example, and he will bring many, is Allah Ta'ala says, the hand of Allah is over their hands. So rather than affirm Allah Ta'ala a hand that befits Him, they say, it means power. This is what? Plain. How you get power from hand? And you ask yourself, where'd you get that from, man? I mean, what did you get that? Right? That would be your reaction, right? Where in the world did you get that? Right? It's light. It's plain. Who has Asma, the Aqidah, the matan of it? This is the book. No one brings the book anymore. Huh? We talked too bad about the book. No one. We just said it was a couple mistakes. We didn't say that the book had to be disregarded or discarded. Yes. Indik Aidan? Give me an example, Barakallah Feekum, other than what I just gave of tahrif. Anything. How do they make tahrif? Meaning what? What does it mean? You mean changing the wording so that it's not Allah spoke to Musa, but Musa spoke to Allah? Someone did that? Those guys. Okay. Those guys. Anybody else? I know I didn't give many examples, but I prefer to do this and get to understand that tahrif in your heads before we go into extra meanings of the word ta'wil, so brother don't get lost and miss the maqsood, what is intended. What is intended is to avoid tahrif. And the Shaykh is just going into the issue of ta'wil because they use that word. And he's going to explain various meanings of ta'wil, which will benefit you as a side issue, But in reality, the thing that you're supposed to keep your Aqidah clean from is what? Tahrif. Tahrif. So tahrif is what? Distorting or playing or changing. And it can be done to what? To the wording, the actual letter of the wording. Huh? Or the meaning. Give me an example of wording. I'm at the end of the book. This is the first part. It's a rough looking book, huh? Go ahead. Nothing? Nobody has it? I gave one. I want more other examples. Is it permissible? My goodness. You're like a man to come to your house for one sandwich. You had one. Subhanallah. Where's your generosity? Huh? No, I'm not looking for that point. I'm looking for something else. I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone.
Is one of the changing of the rules.
Akhi, come on now. Now you're about to mess. Now you're about to get me a little upset here. You cats was running around here talking about mountain government. You said that the mountain government. Now you don't know when you change the meaning to things. You came from a madhab, a school of thought that all it was tahrif. Oh, 20 years of tahrif, man. Yeah? Allah understand. The Red Sea meant emotion. You don't remember those days? That's tahrif or tahrif? That's tahrif or tahrif? You might not know. Some of the brothers, man, who were sitting around here talking about when Ibrahim alayhi salam killed the birds and said, come to me, well, the bird is this, and this is the mountainous government, and this is this. Come on, man. That was all tahrif. Huh? Yeah, istiwa. Allah rose over the throne. They added what? Stawla. So this is to the what? To the wording. And also the kalima. The meaning also is it changes when you change the word. Because istawla means to conquer something. Nah. Ala kulli halin. It seems our brothers have been on the sunnah so long that they forgot every bid'ah. Have been upon Tawheed so long that they forgot all about shirk. Been on Iman so long, don't know nothing about kufr. This is not the way it's supposed to be. So that Islam will be broken down and destroyed branch by branch when it's raised in Islam those who didn't know kufr. How you, bididduha, which is opposite you know things. You don't know nothing about shirk, you might fall into it, akhi. You don't know nothing about bid'ah, you're going to run into the biggest mubtadi on earth and follow him. Because you don't know nothing about bid'ah. You know the sabil al-mujrimeen, the path of the criminals. What's sabil al-mu'mineen? The path of the believers. You forgot that government mountain mean government and all that. The only one in here and went through that's a Dukkari. Come on, man. Some brothers used to memorize that stuff. Put it out on you so quick. Have a cat mesmerized. Don't want to talk about it now, huh? Na'am, ايش عندك؟ Okay, now you're about to get into another area. What you asking? The hadith of the wali, what about it? You want to understand another hadith of the wali? Right. You mean they changed the meaning? Yeah, of course, it's not understood from the hadith. Can't understand that from the hadith at all. You don't want a new bid'ah. Leave us with the old ones, huh? That here is speaking without knowledge, I was looking for the statement of Na'im ibn Hamad, which if I don't have it here now, we can get it, inshallah ta'ala. You know what page it is on? Na'im ibn Hamad's statement? We can get it next, we can get it Friday, inshallah ta'ala. Because I really think that something like that should be memorized. And in a city such as this, it can be said by us, inshallah ta'ala, over a number, maybe a number of times. It becomes something memorized that the people have with them, inshallah ta'ala. You know where it's at? Oh. Yeah. Nobody has it? Na'im ibn Hamad's statement, Aqidah Wasittiyah. نعم فضل.
وقالت اليهود يد الله معلولة.
هذا ليس بتحريف حقيقة، هذا سب. Slandering Allah تبارك وتعالى. And from من ناحية you can say if they say that, but they intend by it يقصدون يعني السب, شتم, right? Because they intend to talk about Allah in a nasty way, right? Allah's hands is tied. You mean that Allah does not spend? This is a lie. Al-Muhim, it doesn't seem I will find. I tried to find a little bit before I came, but inshallah ta'ala we will try to memorize that and say it bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Probably have brothers repeat it so that it becomes a defining matter in their Aqidah. You got it? You think you got it? Nah.
When the Palestinians said that sin was the fire nation changed the meaning of Allah said in the Quran. Allah built the ayah about the sin. He said that that wasn't what it means. It means that it's a fire nature. That's one. Another one is when he said that the women that their hair is genetic.
Naam, you're correct, Hudayfa. No doubt about that. The man's whole school of thought, a madhab, is a what? Madhab of what? Tahrif. I mean, if you had to ask who was the biggest muharrif, right? It would be him. His whole, you could give examples close to home, maybe also. I don't know. If you really tried, you probably could come up with something a little closer. Naam, I want to define it bil Arabi. Kulli halan in English it says, whoever described Allah in the likeness of his creatures. That's why I want the Arabic. Let me find the Arabic. He has committed kufr. And if someone denies the attributes by which Allah qualified himself, then he has also committed kufr. The attributes by which Allah qualified himself, or those that were narrated about him by his Prophet ﷺ, will not be called tashbih or tamtheel. I need to look at the actual Arabic for this portion. Other examples, the Sufis do it too. The Sufis do a lot of what? Tahrif. I'm going to memorize it, inshallah. Sufi tendencies? What do you mean? He had a tendency to be Sufi? You just saw like he was just dying to be Sufi? Like if you don't stop him, he's just going to be Sufi? What do you mean tendencies to be Sufi? الله المستعان. طلحة هذا المهم يعني the Shia do it. Say Allah Ta'ala ordered that you slaughter a cow. They say Aisha. May the curse of Allah be upon them. Aisha. Can you imagine reading that ayah And they saying Aisha. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, they claim that's what? That's the tafsir of the ayah. A'udhu billah. Sufis do it a lot too. And you find somebody who's been influenced by them, they have these, to use the brother's word, tendencies. You know? They have these tendencies. Let me see, where were we? MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Oh, Jamil, you got one?
Thinking about when Shahid would say that the sun won't rise in the west, right? And that's in the man that's being oppressed and living hard nature, mind is all jammed up. He's going to start rising in the east, and then he's going to be resurrected. And if they don't believe in the resurrection of the Allah bring him back to death, back to life. And that's what I'm thinking.
He wants, our brother here wants to know who says that.
That was the old school thought, but that was Elijah. That food is the Kufa, that nation of Kufa.
We'll leave this statement of Na'im Ibn Hamad for Friday's lecture, inshallah ta'ala. We'll probably open up with it, the Arabic of it and the English of it, and try to memorize it, inshallah ta'ala. It'll help you in the area of believing in the names and qualities of Allah ta'ala. And how Allah ta'ala has described himself in his book, and the Prophet has described the Sunnah, there's no fear of any similarity between Allah and his creatures. There's no similarity between Allah and his creatures. This is a good qa'idah or principle to take, if I can use the term qa'idah these days, principle to take, so that inshallah ta'ala your heart will be safe from falling into that which is incorrect regarding the names and qualities of Allah ta'ala. So stay up on the bi'idhnillah ta'ala, go over again the issue of tahrif, so that when we come Friday bi'idhnillah we'll take what the Sheikh said for the fa'idah of the ta'wil, knowing the types of ta'wil, and we'll finish up with tahrif, and then we'll go into ta'atil inshallah ta'ala regarding those who reject and deny the names and qualities of Allah ta'ala. So we're going along, and it may be a little slower than we would like, but we're doing so that everyone inshallah will come along with the correct understanding and not just have a bunch of terminology in their head and then get to talking to people and mislead themselves and mislead others. Many of our brothers, if we were to do, unfortunately, a pop quiz on this type of issue, and they probably went through these terminologies before, but and they didn't understand them because it was not connected to something sound and from knowledge of Quran and Sunnah and what the Salaf were on. So we're taking it slow, bi'idhnillah, so that it soaks in and is absorbed and digested, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, and no one can convey it. One can convey it. And I think on each point, if you admit to yourself that you are getting the butter of each lecture, you're understanding what is intended by what the Shaykh rahimahullah wrote in this monumental work of Aqidah Wasittiyah. So this is what is needed. So that when you come into the area of names and qualities of Allah ta'ala, you don't shiver, you don't hesitate. You know what I'm saying? You don't get your Adam's apple or whatever. You don't have no big gulp in your, you know what I'm saying, your throat before you can talk about it as if it's something. You are at serenity and peace regarding this because you understand that it is a matter that is correct, that you have understanding of and belief. It is that which Allah ta'ala revealed in Quran, and that which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated in the Sunnah, and that's enough for you. And then you can relate that without any problem. And then we'll get into the issues where people have problems and misunderstandings. You know what I'm saying? You'll find that this Aqidah, mashallah, it's something azim, something great. For it's the fitrah that Allah set the creation upon, and it's the huda that Allah sent the Prophet ﷺ with. And you'll find that your heart will be at ease with it, and you will come to know our Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala as He described Himself in His book, and as the Prophet ﷺ described in the Sunnah. And this is very, very important, because the vast majority of people don't have this. So this is a great ni'mah. This is a great, vast, expensive ni'mah. How many people walking around here thinking that Allah Ta'ala, the creator of the heavens and the earth, is a man, or is like a man? And people running around here trying to say, well, he can be a man, he can be a woman. I mean, people walking around here talking about Mother Nature and talking about this type of foolishness and that type of foolishness. Even amongst the vast majority of those who connect themselves to the Qibla and consider themselves to be Muslims, they have false concepts regarding Allah Ta'ala, concepts that are not to be found in the book or the Sunnah. So to be guided to that which the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, and the others were upon, this is a great blessing. This is a great blessing. So we will continue upon this. Let it be said whatever is said. Let it be felt about it, however anybody feels about it. But this is our way. Kitab wa Sunnah ala fahm salaf salih. Da'wah from Kitab wa Sunnah ila Kitab wa Sunnah. Da'wah from Kitab wa Sunnah to Kitab wa Sunnah. Teaching the people Aqidah, teaching the people the matters of fiqh fi deen, and warning against the mubtadi'ah, wal mulhideen, wal muharrifeen, like this. Not warning by that any type of shuhra, any well-knownness or notoriety. That's nothing. Not warning by that any type of riches. Not warning by that a vast majority of the followers. Oh, Wallahi Azim, we have sat in circles where it was just two brothers. The one speaking and the one listening. You know? And if it's 100 after that, or 200 after that, or 1,000,000 after that, so be it. It's just like speaking to one brother. And about the deen of Allah Ta'ala and the Sunnah of the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is what the path, this is what is the correct way. And that which benefits the people will be shown. The zubda, the good, will be shown. It will remain. And that which doesn't, dry up and go away. Dry up and go away. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد. إذا في سؤال, cut these brothers off. I guess I didn't want a question from them. My hand didn't want a question from them. No su'al, no questions? You got one way back there? Nah, faddal. Huh? I didn't hear you. Nah. Assalam. Which Abdul Karim? In the tape room? Is he here? Okay, give him the phone. The one who was talking about the Red Sea. No. Oh, he gave an example, and now the man's getting, only one brave enough to give an example. Now, Faddal, go ahead, Akhi. Tahrif to anything. We're focusing on names and qualities because that's what we're dealing with. But if you do anything with the book or the sunnah or anything that plain or changing the word will mean this is tahrif. But we're saying specifically regarding the Aqidah because this is what we're studying. But I mean, if anything, if somebody, come to you and they bring something from the sunnah and then they change the meaning of his words, then you can say this is tahrif. This is lab. This is playing with the sunnah. But we're only restricting the Aqidah because this is what Ibn Taymiyyah said regarding the names and qualities of Allah. We believe in how Allah has described himself in his book, and believe in how what the Prophet has described Allah in the Sunnah, and then he went on and he went up tahrif and ta'atil and like this. Na'am. Na'am.
Use it like in a plain way,
What do you mean?
Like somebody is doing something that it's like they're playing a lot, and the brother like talking that like laughing, like what they're saying, not really meaning for the person to feel off, or like saying in a joking way.
I don't know. You're going kind of far on me on that one. I mean, what I meant by that is that he's actually playing with the words of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, not playing in the sense of ha ha ha. Playing in the sense of, he's actually taking an ayah and he's saying it has another meaning. This is a way of playing. This lab in that sense. Not like he's joking too much and okay, you're playing too much, you need to stop playing like that way. It means to distort and he's changing these type of things, But But if it's those people who say that, you know what I'm saying, and you say they say ittaqillah, and they mean by that what? That
They're playing while they're saying something. They don't really mean.
that he should fear Allah. Yeah, that's different. It's not a good quality, but it's not what we're talking about in a real sense. We're talking about somebody who comes to a verse in Quran and actually say, well, this is not the meaning that I intend to accept. So I'm going to remove this meaning and give it another meaning. I'm going to say rather than this, the hand of Allah, I'm going to say power. Rather than Allah was pleased, I'm going to say He wanted to reward. You know, whatever the case. I'm going to change the verse and to make it look that Allah spoke, that Musa spoke to Allah rather than Allah spoke to Musa. This is what he means by la'at, and he's playing with it like it's something he took something out of one pocket, you know, out of his pocket, pasted over the words of Allah and said this was the meaning. Like that. Nah. Depends. Who said it wasn't kufr? No one said it. No one said it wasn't. Who said that? Where did you get that from? That someone said it wasn't. No, but I'm saying you said something. You said that. How come that's not kufr akbar? Always we're not talking about a mu'ayyan now. We're talking about somebody specifically. That's different. We're talking about the act itself. If somebody, the act. This is an act. There's no doubt that someone takes and they know he's taking the words of Allah Ta'ala and doing this with, and this is another issue which we'll get into, and that is what was the intent behind the individual doing it, and so on and so forth. And things of that nature as to why they declared some as kuffar and some the Jahmiyyah straight up kuffar, whether Ash'ara are just mubtadi'ah and like this. This will come inshaAllah ta'ala. But I mean, I don't want you to sit around and meditate on these type of things like that. Well, this must mean that this is not kufr akbar and this is kufr akbar and this and that. Because we haven't even covered that yet. Have we gotten into that? No, this is something you're thinking about. We'll get to that inshaAllah ta'ala. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. With some patience and whatever, we'll get to that. You know, because I mean, the assumption you're making is that no one said it was kufr. Oh, now you're talking about the Imams of the Sunnah. Now you're talking about the Imams of the Sunnah. Take it easy, akhi. Take it easy. Please take it easy. Take it easy with yourself. Yeah, I mean, this is these issues like this. Everything in gradation. You know, East Coast, you like everything quick and fast. You figure that you got instant coffee and, you know, quick lunch. You know what I'm saying? You go drive through your window. It's not like that in Aqidah. Take it slow. Each step by step. And even though we spoke about that in our class Monday, before last, about those from Ahlul Sunnah who make a mistake. Right? And so, huh? No, don't be scared now. The issue, I mean, those who from Ahlul Sunnah, you said from Ahlul Sunnah. Matter of fact, you said from Imam, from the Imams of Ahlul Sunnah. You think that an Imam from Ahlul Sunnah is going to make a mistake like that intentionally? Huh? I'll give you a hadith. And I don't really want necessarily that this issue be there necessarily in the beginning on these tapes. But you ask, so we'll answer. The hadith of the man who ordered his sons that when I passed away, alright, then take me, burn me, cast me into the wind. Because if Allah Ta'ala gets his hands upon me, what? He will punish me. So when it happened that he passed away, they followed what he told them to do, burnt them, shed his ashes. If Allah Ta'ala gets his hands on me, it's kufr. The statement. Allah is able to do what? Everything. Huh? Yet when Allah Ta'ala brought this individual before him, had the water pull it back and the air pull it back and everything, he said, what has caused you to do this? He said, fear of you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not call this man a disbeliever, and this man and so on and so forth, and all this, because this man, the overwhelmance of khawf made him fall into this, what? Mistake. Alright? This is just one example. And there's several and hundreds of thousands of probably other examples of this type of thing. But when you say A'immah of Ahlul Sunnah, Imam of Ahlul Sunnah fall into something, this means somebody whose sources, whose origin is Sunni, he's Salafi, he's an Imam, as you said yourself out your mouth. He's an Imam, and he fell into this matter. You cannot believe that he did so intentionally, and that he did, yeah, but that was a mistake. Ijtihad. But see, you're taking us now to an area that we don't want to get to yet. But this is East Coast. That's how it is. Always going into areas that we shouldn't be going into. Nevertheless, inshallah ta'ala, we will be dealing with those type of issues, and those will come up. Right now, what we want to do is get a solid foundation on how we're supposed to believe regarding the names and qualities of Allah ta'ala. And how we supposed to believe regarding the names and qualities of Allah ta'ala. Irrelevant of whether this Imam fell in this mistake or that one fell in that mistake. This is what the sound Aqidah is what we want. And I think Naeem is coming forward to rescue us. Maybe he's not. Naam. It's a misunderstanding of the ayah, the term that was used. A lot of times people who have a taqsir or shortness in the Arabic language, they misunderstand things. And in the Arabic words that come in and have different ma'ani, different meanings. So it's a misunderstanding of the ayah. And some of them have a batil aqidah, like the Qadyanis. I don't know if you call them Qadyanis, here you call them Ahmadiyya. You hear the Ahmadiyya movement? You heard about it? Yeah, right. Yeah, and they have this belief that Isa passed away, and they got his body buried over there, and you can go to his grave and all that. So they would love to understand that term in that way, but it's understood in the Arabic language in a different way than they understood it. Jade? What is ruling on offering making dua after the salat? Should the dua be made after each salat? It depends on what dua you're talking about. In general, dua can be made. And I'm taking specifically that you're asking about dua and not about raising hands. And we're not missing anything else up in here, just the dua itself. Those dua that the Prophet ﷺ used to make at the bar salat or after salat, then we make after salat. And astaghfirullah, 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 ahmadus salam, amika salam, tabarakta ya dhul jalali wa ikram. And those type of dua that he was making, then you make those dua after the salah. Once the imam makes taslim, then you do the adhkar or the remembrances that the Prophet ﷺ was doing. Tasbih, subhanallah, wa tahmeed, alhamdulillah, wa takbir, Allahu akbar, wa la ilaha illallah. You know, and these type of things, and you make your dua. So this is what I'm answering the question in the manner that it was asked. That's it? You coming to what he's coming to? What is it? You brothers got the zeal to kick people out of Islam? No, I just... Hey, don't worry about this issue right now. The issue of he makes tahrif. Just know that it's a big crime that he has committed. And leave the issue of takfir with the scholars. Leave the issue of takfir with those who have the ability to do so. But if you know that this is a matter that is in fact displeasing to Allah ta'ala, that is in fact is a disease, that in fact is something that will in fact destroy a person's aqidah, then you avoid it. Or rather not this individual, this mu'ayyin, this particular individual you're talking about, if he's going to be up on this is an issue, take back to the scholars. None of us is going to sit here and make a ruling on takfir of someone. We're the furthest removed, contrary to what they're trying to put out there, from takfir. You say takfir. And these issues are issues ruling of Allah Ta'ala and the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and those in authority who have the ability to do so. Yeah. And to us, it really doesn't make too much of a difference in the practical sense of the word. Whether we say this is a bid'ah or he's a mubtada'. Whether we say this is a kufr or is he kafir. Long as we know that it's kufr, we want to avoid it. Long as we know that it's bid'ah, we want to avoid it. Now, this particular individual who falls into this particular thing, and he leave it until it happens. When it happens, bring us that individual and we take his situation to the scholars and we get that sorted out. Okay? الله يبارك فيكم.